if you don't have the one right now, it's because you're missing some relationship skills. And we've talked on our shows together about the relationship skills. We haven't focused on that. I'm just saying that the main point I'm making here is love the one you got, okay? And practice your relationship skills. Because if I'm a woman and I have relationship skills that aren't working, generally they're called people pleasing and overgiving, and also bias towards negativity. Okay, being, what do you want to say? Your mind just starts going, oh, he didn't do that, or he's not doing that, or why didn't he do this? Overreactive to things, a bit too picky, whatever. Those are those tendencies.
Yeah,
that's
or they're looking online and none of the men measure up for even a conversation.
That's right. That's right. It's just like, it's not enough, not enough, not enough. It's you. Something's going off inside of you. And what I'm telling you is that if you begin to open your heart, you'll see better qualities in all of these not enoughs. And they still may not be the right one, but you're going to use them to open your heart so that you'll attract the right one, and you'll be able to recognize the right one. You'll know this is the right one. It could be a diamond in the rough even, but you're going to know this is the one. And if you can't find a diamond, it's because you're not yet a diamond. You're a diamond in the rough. You have to get this, that the world is a reflection of us. And there's abundance of opportunities for us to grow through relationship and enjoy relationship and to use men to get to that place. So if you find, let's say you find a man and you look at him and you go, oh my God, this is a diamond. All that's going to do is activate every automatic reaction inside of you that doesn't work in a relationship, which is people pleasing. You're going to lose yourself. You're going to overgive. And then you're going to be disappointed because you'll push him away because you're not being authentically yourself. Let me give you an example of that. A simple one. I'm not much of a people pleaser, but there was a time in my life when I was young and insecure and wanted to be part of a group where I could see myself as a people pleaser. And I'm sitting there at the table and somebody brings up, oh, did you see this movie? And I want to be included in the group, right? And they said, John, what'd you think of the movie? Did you like it? And this is a bit of a controversial movie. And I'm like terrified. What if I say I liked it? Did they all like it? What if I say I didn't like it? Did they all not like, what would they think of me? That's called people pleasing. And women often swim in a sea of people pleasing, which is, how do you comb your hair? What are you putting on? How are you presenting yourself? Do you ask too many questions? Do you not ask questions at all? Another aspect of people pleasing is being a good listener, agreeing with what he says. No, you need to share more points of view that are different from him. You need to practice being able to have a different point of view and not feeling threatened when somebody says, well, why would you say that? That's a relationship skill. This is what my books are filled with, relationship skills. But let's look at this one. It's a very important one for dating. First of all, don't ask him a lot of questions, just enough to get the conversation going, because men generally are quiet guys. They can't talk. Some are talk too much. Some don't talk at all. But if there's, you ask a question, get it going, and now you're going to talk 3 times more. So what did you think about the election? Find even something a bit controversial, and if as you agree on everything, change the subject. Find things that are different. So you get to practice having a different point of view and not being attached to changing his point of view. Think about how many times in a relationship where you argued with a man. Any argument is 2 people trying to change their point of view. So you want to practice, how can I hear another point of view from mine and share my point of view without trying to change them, without conforming, without giving in, without getting upset about their point of view? How many times, a man says, let's say you voted for a Democrat, and now you find out this guy's a Republican and you voted for Donald Trump. You go, why would you do that? That's how Democrats think. How could you do that? He says, oh, Donald Trump, he did this, 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 and this. And now you become outraged with him and you're turned off to him, rather than going, hey, why would you do that? Tell me more. And you say, well, that makes sense. Well, I can get your point of view. I guess if I thought that, that's true. And then as soon as you sort of acknowledged what he said, that's called giving him a little something of appreciation for his thinking and his logic or whatever it is. Then you now talk 3 times longer. Well, I like Biden because, he says this and he said this, and I really like this idea here. Now, this guy, he doesn't have good dating skills either. So what he's going to go is, oh, that's ridiculous. And you say, hold on. Don't even let him talk for a moment if he's trying to change your point of view. You know, well, wait a second. I got your point of view, and that makes sense to me, but I have a different point of view. And I just, I like to talk about my point of view. I mean, nobody knows all the answers in the world, so you learn how to dodge a man trying to fix you, change you, and yet you're not turned off to him trying to do that, because that's what men do. That's what you accept. And what you have to do as a woman is learn to not take it personally and not change how you think to get his approval. What makes people attracted to each other is differences. You don't just adjust yourself to please somebody. You adjust yourself to please yourself and come back to feeling good. And so this is like learning, having conversation styles where you're not trying to fix or change him. And he's going to try to fix and change you, because that's what men do, because they're not taking this class. And you buffer it. You just say, well, I see your point of view. Well, that makes sense. And I have a different point of view. And be okay having a different point of view. This is really important training where you can start getting grounded in recognizing and being aware of how much you give up your point of view. Or there's other women who never give up their point of view, but they're always trying to change his point of view. You see, there's like, well, how would you say that? Well, I can't believe you would do that. Well, men should never do that. All that, you should never do that. That's your own inside, your demanding side, demanding someone to change in order for you to be pleased. And if the more a man is a diamond, meaning you want to get him, the more those automatic negative processes, compensation measures, alternative ways of reacting, inauthentic, not loving and supportive, not accepting, all that stuff that ruined your last relationship, you can start becoming aware of it and freely adjust it and let it go, because he's not a diamond. Because if he's a diamond, it just controls you, because there's always the fear of losing him. Mm-hmm. So you want to get in a relationship where there's no fear of losing him. So then you can practice new ways of relating. And the first step is awareness. Notice how you try to change yourself in the presence of a man. Notice how you try to get him to love you and like you. Don't try. The right man, you don't have to try. Bonnie, my wife, my soulmate, she rejected me over and over. I had to really work hard to get her to love me. And so she had a sense of entitlement that wasn't like, demanding entitlement. It's just that, she didn't try to persuade me at all. I got to pursue her. And because I pursued her, I won her. I conquered her. I achieved her. I made adjustments to make her happy. I bonded with her so deeply. That's how men bond. If you do things for men, he doesn't bond with you, and it brings out the worst in him. Because when I do something for you, it strengthens your female side. When you do something for me, you're strengthening my female side. Men are already too much on their female side. They need more masculinity. So give him the opportunity to give to you by not giving him, but instead, when he does things that are helpful or supportive, appreciate him, but give him trust in that you don't need to change him. And also, you don't need him to be the perfect person. You trust the universe is going to bring you the right person once you become the right person. And that's how you find the one in 21. You've got to come back to this place of, I can make adjustments inside myself. That also, by becoming aware of how you have contributed to problems in the past, and that awareness allows you to start making adjustments, that allows you to trust yourself more. Mm-hmm. And when you trust yourself more, as I mentioned in the beginning of our conversation, then you can start to trust men more. When you start to trust men more, you're not in a fight or flight place. So now you're able to see the good in every situation, as well as what you don't like. It's a balanced perspective. It's never all bad. It's never all good. You got to get to the place where you can see the good and see the not good, and nothing causes stress for you, and you're able to look at the beauty. I'll give you an example of Bonnie when I'm dating her. And this is, again, finding the one and getting your one to find you as the one. That's also a big question women have, is how to get them to want me.
Absolutely.
So again, it's love. It's women are the embodiments of love, and that's expressed to men through trusting, accepting him as he is, and appreciating him. So I had been in a relationship before Bonnie. I'd been married before Bonnie and divorced. And one of the things that caused us problems in my marriage, my first marriage, was, and by the way, before I married first, I tried to marry Bonnie and she wouldn't marry me. She said, "You're not ready." And she was right. And so I married another woman, made all these mistakes. And I said, "Now I'm ready. I promise you, I'm ready. I know better." And so we got married 34 years, actually. Very sweet marriage. But so here's the moment I remember when I said, "I'm going to marry Bonnie." And it was after maybe almost about 10 months after my divorce from my first wife. I'd had time to do my processing and healing and so forth. And then I called up Bonnie, and just hearing her voice, I knew she was the one, and I was ready for her. But yeah, still, I making a marriage commitment is a different story, but she's the one I want to date now and I want to be with. Then I took her on a little romantic getaway, and we were driving in California, from Northern California to Southern California. And somewhere I took the wrong turn, and we ended up seeing a sign saying Nevada, Las Vegas, a certain amount of miles. So we were going to be late to where we were going. I made the wrong turn. And in my previous marriage, that would have been the beginning of a war. Okay. That would just been the worst thing, my incompetence. How could you miss the turn? We're going to miss the talk. I can't believe it. I can't rely on you, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I'm in the car with Bonnie, and I pulled the car over to look at the map. And this is before we had GPS and all that. And I look at the map, but there's a sign saying that we just passed the sign saying Las Vegas on the way. So I said, "I think I took a wrong turn." And Bonnie said nothing. And while she's sitting there saying nothing, I'm like, oh my God, imagining the worst is going to happen now when she finds out we're going to miss this talk. She wanted to go here and the dinner and everything we're going to do. And so there I am. And I said, "I don't know exactly where we are." And she said back, "I don't know where we are either, but this is the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen." And I literally, in my mind, I knelt down before God and I said, "Thank you, God. She's here. This is the woman I want to live my life with." So
Beautiful.
Sometimes, and to unpack that, I made a mistake and I didn't get punished for it. I made a mistake, and that she was able to find something positive in it. And that's an ability that she was culturing. I have to say, she was reading a book that most women today might find a bit sexist, but she was doing her work to prepare for her soulmate. And that was a book called Fascinating Womanhood.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about letting the man be the man. And maybe if you take it too far, you would end up being a submissive woman in an abusive relationship. But because I'm not an abusive person, a lot of those techniques worked really well on me, but would not always work well in other situations, which is like never to complain. See, you have to learn. You can't just tell a woman, "Don't complain." You have to help a woman learn how to ask for help, because behind every complaint is really a request.
Right.
Complaining only pushes men away and brings out the worst side of men. The bottom line is everybody wants to be right. If you win the prize, everybody loves you. If you're a loser, they don't notice you. We want to be right. We want to be seen as capable and confident. So when we're not seen that way, we get defensive, and men more so than women.